Hello, good day, good morning, good evening, whatever your time zone is, whenever you're watching this. This is recorded. This is where I do CSS Battle, CSSBattle.dev, a really cool website where you can play code golf. And the goal is to use HTML and CSS to create various graphical shapes. Really enjoyable pastime and I've been recording each one of my solutions for the daily challenges, which are a lot of fun. And if you are a subscriber to the Plus account, you can use these old ones. Today I'll be doing, or at least for this video, I'll be doing September 29th, 30th, and October 1st of 2023. So let's get started. All right, this is a fun one. So it seems pretty clearly that this is simple enough to do in two radial gradients, right? A radial gradient where you get a circle out of it. We've got this circle. Well, one of my dictums is to do the hard part first. So let's do the hard part first, which is the half circle and not the whole circle. The single circle is pretty straightforward. So let's see what we need to do that. All right. We've got a radial gradient. So what I want to do is color just the inverse of this. So I only want to do the orange parts, not the blue parts. So let's put blue in the far background, and if I do this right, we should see all the orange filled in. So we need transparent in the middle, and then orange, and then orange, and then transparent again, and then orange. And so we kind of are seeing that a little bit. And right now it's fitting to the background of the element that it's on, which is the body, which is 300 by 400. To make it a perfect circle, we need to use the keyword circle. And it looks like it's centered not at the middle, which would be at 50%, which is what it is right now. It's a little higher, which would mean the second would be the second variable is of the at is where we put it. Is it like 30? Is it like 1/3, which would be 33%? Let's be that as it may, 10%. So let's put some numbers to these color stops. All right, so 10%. So that's not centered. Is it more like 40%? 35%? 36, 37? Maybe it's 37%. It probably is something like 37.5%. And yeah, so let's do that. Why not? Why not? Well, no, 36.5%. All right, let's just get there. Because clearly, 3, 4. So I'm increasing so again, the alignment of this is just a little tricky. So let's do 110. Okay, so that's a little better. 13, 14, 15. No good. How about 50 pixels? 60 pixels. No, 40 pixels. There, that's a better number. All right, and we're going to set these color stops. 20, 30, 28, 29, 29%. We want to use the smallest number that we can get to do all these color stops. Okay, so how about 40, 41, 2, 3, 44, 45, no, too big, 44, 43, 42, too small, so let's use a pixel value. Too small, and that's it. So now what's left is to fill in this. Is there a way to do that with a single how little code can we do to do that? So there's we've got the Target logo in white on orange. Well, in white anyway. Let's do a conic gradient, huh? How about that? Conic gradient remains my favorite. And just so that we can see it, we're going to do it in 2 RGBA colors of so here's a pink color, and then here's another color. We'll do it as a black, dark color. And 75, how about, so if we can set this in such a way that we get a partial, and I guess we need to repeat 50%. Okay, so we do a from. That's getting the idea. That might be in the ballpark of what we're looking for, even though it's a little wonky how I'm doing it right now. 25. Okay, so there we need, I don't want 50. That's just that. No. Let's go back to the 75. All right, so one thing that's great is to add no repeat. No repeat, which concentrates the mind on what we're trying to do. And what I would like is for a background that represents this. So I want a 75%. I don't need the from. There we go. Okay, so we do need it at 20%, 50%. And how about, so I want to cover the bottom. Okay, so it's too tall. I want it to be right aligned with that line, and then I need to go over further, 30, 40, 50, 60, and then I need to go downward. Okay, so hopefully you can see kind of what I'm doing there. And then we need to move it vertically too. Okay, so in principle, those are the pieces. Oh, and I need a repeat. So what am I doing there? This repeat is wrong. The repeat is wrong. So I actually do need a repeat only on the x-axis. So is this overkill? Maybe. Let's find out. So let's swap out these values and move it to the bottom row and see if we're in a ballpark. Then we can play with the numbers since we have a kind of a sense of what we're doing. So let's swap out that pink. Ought to be the black. So that's this guy, or the dark blue, or dark. Yeah. And then the rest of it is that color. And then we need an additional that color. Okay. So let's play with numbers. Okay. And then, so we've moved the center of that conic gradient over, and now we're going to move this number downward. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and we got a problem. So we need to be not so far over. Or we need to move. Okay, so let's go back. 45, and then less far over, 65, and then let's go down 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. All right, so that's a lot of conic gradient adaptation and motion, and maybe not the most efficient way to do this. You could also do an element with a kind of a clip path. There's a lot of different choices there, but I think I'm content with that. It's an oddball solution in a lot of ways. Many choices. That's kind of the wonderful thing about this, is that you will come up with creative choices and your own choices, and any kind of a solution you come up with using CSS that if you've not used that CSS before, you've learned something, and this is a great opportunity to learn. So that's a fun one, and it is a higher score than I've gotten in the past. I guess my highest score in the past was 654, something like that, and this is 671, so that's good. And 100% match, that's really the goal. There's a few, I think 3 or 4 that I've done recordings of the CSS daily targets that I can't get to 100% on because of my lack of, I haven't hit it. But most of them I'm able to get 100%, and I'm very pleased with that. All right, so next, what do we see? What do we see? To me, what's interesting about this is that these feel like elements that all have the same border. So is there a way to put that border on the body as well? I'm going to do the blank template, and try to do a star selector and say margin 0, border, solid, and that color. And then increase that number. Was it 50 pixels or something? Okay. If I remove this, then we should see, okay, so 50 is too much. What is it, 20, 40, 30? Is that the number? Okay. And then if we've got a paragraph tag, a paragraph element rather, and I set the border of that, so it's already got that. And if I set a width on him of, what is it? Is it that same number? I think it might be. So 30, and then a width of 30 as well. No, that's not right, is it? What's going on there? Is that so? It's what is the value there? So it's got the border and it's got the 30 pixel border, but is that incorrect? Oh, is the issue that is it's not 30, so there's 30 pixels coming from the HTML element as well. So I can't use the star selectors, but I can use body comma P and then do 60 pixels. Okay. And then I do a height of 60 and a width of 60 on that element. And then if I do what? Position fixed. Can I then put a left of 0 or minus 60? Okay. And a top of 0. So I'm able to move that. So that's kind of fun. We've got some default margins on the P tag, which are making that a little stranger. But if we increase the top number. So this is a weird way to do this, admittedly. And interestingly, it doesn't look like that's lining up very well, which surprises me somewhat. And does that mean that there's a problem here? I think it does. Does that mean that this border is slightly different? So that's a different width, huh? Less exciting, less enjoyable. All right, so what? Let's remove this and see. Is there a better way to do this? What's consistent about this, or what's inconsistent? Is it weird that I want to make this be 5 elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a little weird, but I think that's what I'd like to do. Sometimes, you know, flights of fancy, let's say. So let's make the margins on this 60 and set a background on the body. So completely different approach, utterly different approach. And we're going to display flex. We're going to just remove all of this, and we'll do border solid. Do it with borders? Yeah, let's do it with borders. Why not? This is going to be more verbose. So border solid, and then border color, and I'm going to do let's see if this works. Border width. And those numbers. And if I'm going to reuse this, I'm going to do it as a var. So we'll do var. And I guess we need to do this on this too. Var dash C, comma. Is that right? And then we're going to see whether we need a height. Height of var dash H or 0. Because maybe we need a 0 height on one of these. I don't know. This is getting obtuse. Let's see. 40 pixels, 0, 40 pixels. And then let's put an element in here and see what we get. We got nothing. We got 0, zilcho, nothing. Why? Border solid, border color. We've got a height of 0. Oh, we need a width, huh? Yeah, we need a width. There it is. So that's an element. And you can't really tell there's an element there. So let's use some ridiculous colors. Red, blue, green, orange. And we see red and green. So for my purposes, so let's do a height of 10. So that gets us the middle bit. All right, so what do we need to do to make this, so what are these, 50, 60 wide? Okay. And then the border top. Okay. Intriguing. So does that mean that this border is incorrect? Is this margin not? Is it not 60 all the way around? Okay, let's. background yellow. I'm putting in background in, even though I don't think I'm going to use it. Yeah, so I just want to make sure I know what I'm looking at here. 60, 60, and then is that 70? 65. Yeah, so those margins are a little bit odd. So I thought that was a consistent 60 by 60, and it's not. I was wrong. So misinterpreting that made me think that a border solution would make sense and be nice and terse, right? Just say border 60 pixels, yellow, and be content. But no, not true. All right, so let's adjust these numbers. 80, 50, 55, 55. Is it 60? I guess it's 60. 60. And let's go ahead and put in a color there. And that does match. And let's take out that background. Okay. And then make the height a little bit taller. 40. And let's set the bottom color instead of green to be this. Okay, that's a slightly darker brown. And then adjust the height again. The height needs to be 50. Okay, and then this second value needs to be 60. And we're done. So that's one element of this. This is a silly way to do this. However, we're going to call this next one B. And so in this one, the border color, if we change the border color value to be --C, if we just do that 0, that, then we got it. Okay, I can accept that. Silly as that is. Oh, and it's a little bit different width, isn't it? So it needs to be wider. So that width needs to be a variable as well. Var of --W or 60. And then so the width is different, --W. And these are symmetrical, so we're going to, well, you'll see. You'll see. So that width needs to be, what, 70? Look at that. Or does it need to be the height that's 70? So because I've got these interesting, very interesting. All right, so what have we got going on here? Because I've got solid borders, do I need to set that's a black border. And I don't want any of those effects. I don't want any of those effects. So what's going on with the widths there? I have stumbled on an interesting case here. All right, let's rethink this. So right now it's that. And I think I understand what these are. I'm going to set this to 0 and this to 0. And I've got, in terms of the border, variable name reuse. I used width as the same value here, as the same --W. And normally I notice that, but in this case I did not. So let's make it B as the border width. And then I get actually the effect that I wanted. more or less. And so that width needs to be, what, 50? There it is. That is hilarious. C. So W is the actual width of the element. And then border width we're calling --B. Naming variables is difficult. So let's create another one of these. B, and this is the Y, or no, we'll call it the C element. C is correct. C element. And his colors, --C, is simply that. Yeah. And then if we do a background, then we've got the first parts of that. And then the straightforward way for me is if I want to flip it on the y-axis, I'm going to do a transform, scale y -1. And then if I do another PB and add y to it, then I get the next part. And if I do another P, then I've got it. And then add a Y, and then that's flipped upside down. And then that's all the pieces. Very circuitous way to solve this one. I don't know if I like it, but it works more or less. And I can use this oddity that a 0 will work as a border color in this context, which is sort of a trick kind of thing. But we've got multiple sizes of these border widths, so I don't know. It's if I do the background here and set it to var --C, do I get the same value? Yeah, sure. That works. That's a little less code. And can I set this color? Can I do less code? No, not there. So I do need that one. Okay. And can I set that to 0? No, I can't. But I can set it to transparent. Like that. Okay. I think I'm happy with that. It's a silly one. Definitely a sillier solution to this problem, to use 5 elements to get this particular pattern. But I don't know, it's on the fun side for me. I've gotten some better scores. We won't delve into those, but many ways to do this one. I think there are ways to do this with the borders. Different ways to do it with the borders, including borders on the body. Right now we don't have any borders on the body, but you could. All right. And then lastly, oh yeah. So this one is pretty classically, in the way I approach it, a conic gradient. So we do the conic gradient, which for some reason doesn't autocomplete. That doesn't seem to know about the wonders of the conic gradient. But that's the shape. And then put it at the top corner and increase the size, and you get it. So essentially, we do need an at. What is that? It's like 80%, 80%. That kind of gets it. So let's make the heights of these right. So the corners of this will work if I get the heights right. So let's try to do them as percentages. 50% and 50% is where I'll start, and then let's increase those numbers. So the width is at 60, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. Or is it 210 pixels, 220, 225 pixels. Yeah, 225 pixels, and that's fine. I accept that. And then 50, is that too tall? Not tall enough. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 59. 0.1%. How about it more normal? 175 pixels. That's fine. All right, so now let's go 75, 76, 77, 78, 78, 79 pixels. No, 77. 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.7, 77.7. And then after a percentage, you don't need, or you're not obliged, not obligated to include space because the parser seems to understand that after a percentage mark, you don't mean anything else after that. You just ended a unit. So that's a match, I believe. We'll see if it comes up with 100%. And that's 100%. Let's unit replace and minify, nip and tuck at these values, and then resubmit. And that's my solution for that one. Kind of a fun one. I've gotten better than that. Oh, I've equaled that precisely. So I think I've done this precise solution before. Are there other optimizations I could make here? Can I do a star or the ampersand and then resubmit? Don't fully understand why I would use the ampersand. Or yeah, so that's a better score. What does it mean? I think it has to do with nesting. Something to look up. There's your homework. All right, thanks for watching. Enjoyed doing these a great deal. These were September 29th, 30th, and the 1st of October 2023. Enjoyable CSS battles as always. All right, have a great day. Take care of yourselves.